lovely. So, namaste. And welcome to this special extra satsang. It is always my intention to try to find the fastest way back from suffering and pain into peace and happiness. And one of the ways that I discovered that was useful for me to do this was something called the statement process. And it's cobbled together from several other practices that I took little bits out of as I went along my own pathway, my own journey. And it's really a very simple process. And because of that, you're going to find probably, well, I've never met anyone that didn't have resistance to the statement process because of its simple, profound way to change things very, very quickly for you. So just because you have resistance to something, it doesn't mean that it's not going to work. It probably means it really is going to work. Our mind doesn't like the idea that something simple can be so powerful. You know how it likes to make things complex. So I'm going to explain just a little bit about the statement process, what it is and how to use it. And then the easiest way to demonstrate it is to do it. So I'll be asking for volunteers if you want to participate with me. And you can use the statement process anytime you feel less than wonderful. So whatever that is about, when a karmic pattern arises and something's going on in your life that you would rather not be experiencing, you can use it when you're stuck in a traffic jam to help the traffic begin to flow quicker. You can use it anywhere at all. Whenever we have to make a decision about something, we do statement process work first, make sure we're all in a really high energy place before we make a decision. It's got so many applications. You'll see as we go through. So statement process is a way of moving back from the sense of being someone, a separate sense of self, the egoic sense of self, back to the real self. So we all have those times in our life where we know theoretically what the absolute truth is, but we can't seem to shift in that moment from very low energy, low vibration feeling place of suffering. Our karmic patterns are really where we've accidentally trained ourselves to think and feel a certain way about something, and where the sense of someone is playing in quite a strong way. This sense of being a separate being has really keyed in. And in those moments, there's a strong sense of duality, of being separate to everything else. And our instinct in that moment is to try to reject that and get back to the peace. But sometimes just by doing that, we feel we can't seem to manage to achieve it. So as an example from my own awakening, there was always a lot of fear, and there was always a lack of resources, lack of money. And theoretically, in those moments when there was a lot of fear and I didn't have enough money, I knew theoretically that there is only abundance and I'm not separate to the money, and that money isn't a real thing anyway, it's an energy and all of that. But in that moment when I'm feeling terrible, that absolute truth just made me feel worse because it didn't feel true. What felt true to me in that moment was, I don't have enough and I'm not safe. So the statement process is a way of bridging a vibrational gap between what I'm feeling in this moment and where I would like to be, back to the sense of there is only abundance, I can never run out of anything. For most of us, myself included, this was too big a gap in some moments to make. So the statement process is a way of building a ladder and allowing us to go from statement to statement to statement, and eventually arriving back at, there's nothing wrong in this moment, everything is working out as it should, I'm always looked after. Those statements then feel true. So very simple process, and there's only two rules. You start from where you're at, And we're not pushing away this sense of being someone. Your first statement may be a really separate sounding statement. It may be something like, I'm really scared right now, or I'm completely angry with this person, or whatever it is that you feel. It's a statement of what is. And as we begin to move then into a better and better feeling place, our outer circumstances begin to mirror that back too. We've all got stuck in thinking and feeling the same way about things because an experience keeps happening to us. Our mind says, I feel this way inside because this thing out there keeps happening to my body, to my work, to my relationships. It keeps happening in my finances, wherever it's happening. But as the infinite being, we can come to see that what's happening in our experience, in our life, is a reflection of, an echo of what we're holding on to inside. So as we work to change how we think and feel about something incrementally, then we're going to begin to see our experience change. And we see many large and small miracles using this process. It will take you exactly the same place back to the non-dual self as contemplation, meditation, self-inquiry. It's just an easier route if you're in a very low, if you're feeling fear, guilt, shame, or some energy that's a very low vibration, apathy, depression. Even if you're just irritated, frustrated, any of those. And even if you're feeling joyful, you can still apply the statement process and climb even higher. We're just allowing the body and mind to shift the vibration that's in it right now and work back towards feeling good. And then the problems seem to resolve themselves from that place anyway. So 2 simple rules. The first one is that after your initial statement of what is, the next statement that you say or write down, whichever you prefer, has to feel also true. And the second rule is it has to feel slightly better when you feel it out inside your body than the previous statement. The next statement has to feel true and slightly better. And then the next statement, also true and slightly better. So if I'm feeling very unlovable, if I'm feeling very unworthy, to try to tell myself that everyone loves me and there's nothing wrong with me, I'm beautiful and all that, it's going to make me feel worse, isn't it? But if I can begin to make statements that soften the resistance to what I'm feeling in this moment, then I'm going to be able to make little steps. So we're building a ladder. So those 2 simple things. We're not trying to fix any problem with the statement process. We don't even have to make statements about the thing that's currently going on that started us with the statement process, that prompted it, the thing that seems to be causing the suffering. We can make statements about anything at all, absolutely anything at all in our life that feels better and feels also true. So we don't even have to stay on a subject we started with. It's wide open. Because we're working with statements that feel true, we're actually shifting and changing how we can think and feel in here about a particular subject. And then out there, which is really me also, it's going to have to begin to change too. You can do this for yourself. You can do this on behalf of a loved one that's suffering. You can do it on behalf of a friend. You can do it on behalf of the world at large. All of that, starting from how you feel about it. The best way to do this is just to dive right in and ask for people that want to do this with me now here. So if you have a karmic pattern playing or an emotion or something going on that you would like help with, feel free to raise your hand and we'll demonstrate it. Okay, so Gabrielle first. We'll see how many we can get through. Okay, how many people? Whenever you're ready. Okay.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, how are you doing?
Well, that's perfect timing. So I have been experiencing immense joy this morning, and then right now I can hardly speak because the fear is almost paralyzing me. It's fear I haven't felt for years. So yeah, that's here right
Difficult
now.
to raise your hand and to so
Shaking a bit.
that's okay. It's absolutely, you're in a safe place here. You're loved. We all understand what that feels like. We're all supporting you, and very brave of you to, because as we demonstrate this together, you're going to see it's easier than you think, perhaps, and everyone else will see that too. So just start with the first statement and don't try to spiritualize it. This is fear, and I'm not the one feeling. Just, if you're terrified, I'm terrified right now. Don't try to sugarcoat it or anything. Just a statement of how it is right now for you.
Yeah, it feels terror. Absolute. Unbelievable terror.
So I'm going to ask you to make another statement about it that also feels true, because that feels very true, doesn't it? It's very true.
Yeah.
And if we would try to go for a statement saying, I know I'm absolutely safe, that would feel even worse, wouldn't it? Because it feels untrue. So we're going to stay with what feels true. And something that feels ever so slightly better. We're only looking for a tiny, tiny jump. So an example of a next statement could be something like, at least I'm here with everyone and I'm being supported by everyone, or I don't have to handle all of this fear right now. I'm doing the best I can right now in this moment. Even a statement, something like, nobody's ever going to enjoy feeling like this, is also true, but might feel a little bit better. So those are just some examples of statements. Can you think of one that feels, and before you say it, just feel it in your body, take your time, and just checking it feels true and it feels just a little bit better. We're not looking to climb mountains.
Yeah, it's not a great way to feel.
Yeah. Does that make you feel a little better?
Yeah, it feels true.
Good, good. So we're always looking for that it feels a little bit better and that it feels true. Yeah. So can you go for another statement now? Again, something that feels a little bit better than that, even just a tiny bit.
Maybe it's not as bad as I think.
Does that feel true?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels better, a little
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. There's a bit more peace. Yeah.
So we're just step by step building a little ladder back to peace. But we couldn't do it in one big jump. We couldn't just say, because there's a lot of it keyed in the body and the system, and we're feeling it. So keep going, and you're doing amazing. See if you can go for another one, another statement. Take your time.
Maybe it's not my whole experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Does that, just check in again, that feels true and feels better?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's important as we're first learning just to keep checking that, because it's easy to say something that feels true but doesn't feel better. So we're just building a habit of going up rather than what we normally do is we say statements or we think things that progressively feel worse. So, you could say another statement like, looking forward to mastering the statement process, or I'm really glad I put my hand up, and that one might not feel true.
No, that does feel true. I'll say that one actually. I am glad I put my hand up. Yeah.
And it feels better, slightly better.
Yeah, it feels a lot better. Yeah.
Good. So you see, we're not fixing anything here. And we're just by working to feel a little better, we are softening the resistance to this moment. So whatever prompted the suffering, in this case fear, will begin to resolve itself anyways. We're just softening, because whenever anything's happening either in here or out there that we don't like, of course we're going to resist it. Of course we are, and we all do. So just softening that resistance with statements like this is enough, isn't it? Can you feel something different inside?
Yeah, I feel more open. Yeah.
And we aren't trying to fix or get rid of anything. We're just working with these statements. So see if you can go with another one. You're doing amazing here.
Maybe there's people that can help me right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That feels better.
Yeah.
And also true.
Yeah.
Good, good. So you're on a roll now. See if you can keep going.
I wonder what's underneath the fear.
Yeah.
Like, so I just keep going with it.
Yeah, yeah. If you might find that you begin to get going on your own automatically, that once you've kind of, first couple of statements can be a little challenging because our mind really wants to hold on to how we think and feel about the situation, because that's what it does. But as we begin to get a roll going, some momentum, the statements might come easier and easier as you're demonstrating here.
So yeah, there's also a lot of peace right now.
Yeah.
And
you can say things like, I don't have to do this alone, or this is
not
part of my process.
Yeah,
or,
it's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah, good.
I'm
yeah, looking forward to later when it's gone. You know, that's
okay, I see. I'm
it?
with you. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to more peace.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't this hard, funnily enough, but I feel light with that.
Yeah. Just checking your body is going to give you feedback to the statement, and just checking it feels better and it also feels true.
Maybe it doesn't have to be this hard.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Maybe there's nothing I need to do about this fear, you know?
Yeah, maybe there's nothing I need to do.
Again, you know, I'm just suggesting statements, but if they don't feel true for you, it's okay completely.
I feel a bit stuck.
That's a good statement in itself. It's okay that I'm stuck. I'm completely
feel a bit stuck.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to know.
Yeah. If you get to a little bit of stuck, try to change the subject. You know, you could say something like, I felt fear before and I've got through it. It's passed. Or I'm looking forward to going on holiday next month.
Oh,
holiday.
okay, I see.
It can
so
be
you're looking more
anything at all.
Out of the fear things. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
It's literally any statement at all that feels better than the previous one and true.
Okay, great. I'm definitely looking forward to going out tonight with my friends.
Wonderful, wonderful. Keep going then.
And I'm looking forward to getting in the sunshine after this and doing my garden.
Wonderful. Keep going. There we go.
Okay. I'm looking forward to the end of this talking.
So just stopping for a moment and feeling now, how does your body feel compared to when you started this process, the first statement?
Well, it feels much lighter and there's a lot more feeling of joy.
Yeah. So
yeah, so I feel like I'm not digging the fear.
Yeah.
Trying to get rid of the fear, which is my tendency.
All of us do, don't we? Of course, we don't want to. And all we're really doing is softening resistance. Can you sort of sense that energetically? We're just being with what is, statement by statement. We're being with what is. We don't need to fix anything, because your body's quite capable of dealing with the fear if we just stop sort of pushing against it. And that's what we do with the statement process, just stop pushing.
Well, I'm loving the fact that I'm in the group and can chat about it.
Wonderful.
Definitely don't feel alone with this anymore.
Good, good.
There's a lot more peace in the body. Yeah. Wow, do you know what is also very true? I find it really hard to find positive things.
It's because, and you'll see this, this is a great example of it, because we our attention is mostly focused on what we don't want, what we're experiencing, and we give very little attention as human beings to what we actually do want,
Yeah.
or what feels good. So you might just notice that a little bit, and it's okay to go to a memory that you had that feels really good, or something you're looking forward to in the future. But you might also at some point intuitively get a sense that I've gone as far as I can right now in this session, a sense that that's as much as I want to do right now, and I can come back to it later. It's up to you entirely. Do you feel you want to go a little further, or
I do.
Go on then.
I do, because I'm enjoying this now. So I am really, really, really looking forward to the next few weeks of spring and being outside the whole time.
Wonderful.
And I'm looking forward to lots and lots of new adventures this year that I feel are coming my way.
Wonderful.
And I'm looking forward to getting a new puppy.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
Or the puppy finding me. You know what I'm really, really looking forward to? And just learning to deeply love myself more.
And aren't you doing that right now? Aren't you doing that right now here? Yeah. This is it, isn't it? This is it.
Yeah.
Self-acceptance in a very simple way.
Yeah. And I feel that's about as much as I feel I can.
Absolutely. So you have changed everything forever now, for everyone, because there's only one of us. When any one human body does this process, it's changing everything for everyone, not only your own circumstances. So the next time any fear comes up, you won't be able to feel it quite as strongly. You won't be able to resist it quite as much. And the more you kind of play with this process, apply it to anything, then you get the hang of it. You'll be able to do statements in your head as you're just walking along, or, if you want to have a record, write them down. I'd strongly suggest everyone getting a friend to do them with, practice them with. You can do them over WhatsApp, over text, anything on the phone, even in Facebook, all of that. So it's a very simple process. And in just a few statements, I think that was around about 10, I don't know, but maybe more, but you got back to a sense of peace and joy from terror. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive there. And
Thanks.
You're very welcome. It's shifting how we think and feel about something. So you see, the thoughts about the fear were what were really keeping you suffering. And as we shifted those, it stopped. Even though the fear it might still be there right now, but nothing's pushing against it.
The resistance has gone. It was like a big blob. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, brilliant demonstration. Thank you very much. And have fun with the puppy.
Thank you.
Kelly? There we go.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, how are you doing?
Great, I guess. I don't believe that though.
Yeah, that's not really a true statement, is it? Yeah.
Right. No.
So why don't you tell us what's going on for you? What's your first statement?
Well, I had a barrage of negative attacking thoughts towards myself. And I felt very contracted and afraid and sad. And then it turned to apathy, and I was definitely not wanting to do this, even beyond the statement process or do a statement.
Yeah. So that's your first start, and you start from wherever you're at. That kind of feeling, I really, really don't want to do this, is a completely valid first statement, isn't it? However you feel right now is okay.
Yeah. I already feel better that I told you that.
The moment we begin to accept how we're feeling right now, accepting what is, how we are right now, we begin to feel different, don't we? So can you make some statement around that, what we've just been saying, that also feels true, but is a little just a feeling tiny bit better than the apathy and
I feel attack thoughts again. And I'm glad I'm getting help right now.
and that feels true, does it?
Yes.
And a little better?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So that's a brilliant start. Let's see if we can go for another tiny little baby step. So we haven't tried to address or fix anything. We haven't tried to get rid of the thoughts. We're just accepting what is and, our softening resistance to it. So can you think of a statement that feels, just checking out in your body how it feels when you think it or say it, making sure it's just feeling a little bit better.
I feel tears and I'm glad that something's melting.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. So keep going from there if you can. It's okay to release this. Feeling safer and more supported by the minute, or everyone feels this way sometimes. We're not trying to climb any mountains here. Just
already I feel a softening and acceptance.
Lovely, lovely. So keep going. See if you can do another one. Doing amazing. Take your time as well. There's no rush.
I wish I could do this by myself.
Does that feel better or worse?
Neither. I mean, not better necessarily.
Okay, let's put that one to the side then.
Right.
Mind is going to try to resist this. It's going to try and sneak in a statement that might feel true, but not necessarily better. You could say the same thing in a different way. I'm looking forward to when I can do this on my own. Something a little softer.
Yes.
How does that feel? Better or?
A lot better. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to not resisting us. My heart softening.
Yeah, lovely. And statements for me like, it's okay if I resist this. Everyone resists feeling this way. Just, it might seem very obvious, but it's not really about what the statement is. It's about, does it feel better? And does it help me just relax a little bit and feel a little bit better?
I'm looking forward to being okay crying.
Feeling better, a little better and true.
Yeah.
Good. Can you go for one more?
And
it doesn't have to be about this. It could be, I'm looking forward to playing with my dog later, or I'm going to have a nice cup of tea when I finish this Satsang. It doesn't have to be, I've just remembered I got some cake in the fridge, anything at all that feels better.
I'm looking forward to painting. I'm also looking forward to having the next few days off.
Wonderful.
I'm really excited about that.
Feels very true.
Yes. And
keep going if you can. You're doing great.
Yeah. There are a lot of things that I'm excited to do while I'm off.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to feel embarrassed. It's true. It doesn't feel better.
Okay, so just put that to the side. See if you can find anything at all. A good memory from the past that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy. You don't have to say what it is out loud. You can say, I love remembering this time when I felt this way, or something you're looking forward to in the future.
I'm just looking forward to today. And it feels like everything's possible.
So very good. So just checking out how your body feels now compared to when you started. There's a big difference in how you feel, yeah.
Yeah, there isn't. Can I look for one more?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm never going to stop anyone going for one more.
I'm looking forward to when I can be on Zoom and breathe and not feel so contracted.
Wonderful. Yeah. And that kind of statement may, if you'd have said that 5 minutes ago, that may have made you feel terrible, that statement. But here where you are now, it's a hopeful, positive vibration with that, isn't it? Can you feel a difference?
Yeah. Yes.
So you'll be able to make statements as you're further up that you wouldn't have been able to access before. And it's just like, whatever it keeps that momentum going, statements like everyone feels nervous doing this. Everyone is, there's no reason to expect anything different of myself, And again, we're not fixing any problems here. We're just working to feel a little better and shift ourselves to a place where we can't ever go right back down. We might slip a little bit next time. So we start from here, we go up to here in this session. Then we might slip a little bit back. Next time we'll start from here and we'll go up to here. And we just do a little bit more like that each day. We get more and more comfortable with this process, and we begin to have a tool that we can use at any time, anywhere, to kind of dig ourselves out of a very low feeling place, which is where you started from. Is that we all go to some lower vibrations out of habit, thinking and feeling about ourselves or others a certain way. And just changing the habit to keep going down. Normally the next thing you say to yourself is going to feel worse and true. And then the next thing even worse, and so on. So we're just making that go upwards here.
Yeah, and this is a very different way for me to go upwards than the apathy route.
Yeah.
What I do with apathy. This feels like a really better way to deal with all the attacking that goes on, the war inside.
Because the very act of trying to find a statement is helping you to check how you feel right now. And that's being with what is, isn't it? If I'm feeling out a statement inside me, how that feels compared to the last one, we're actually paying attention to what is in this moment. None of this is really important. It's just a little explanation, but you can't be resisting what is and looking for the next statement at the same time. Checking out how it feels. It's very simple. And I found there's times I could contemplate my way out of feeling in a dark place. There's times that seemed more difficult. Times the statement process seemed to work better for me. Times it didn't. It's just another tool to have in your arsenal, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Lovely.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you for demonstrating that. Appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, Elaine has a hand up. Lovely. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm here, and it's really not my favorite thing at all. In fact, that's why I found I'd put my hand up. I need as much practice. Well, No, I don't need practice because I don't want to say that.
Start with what is actually true for you right now. You know, it's okay. I really don't like the statement process. It feels true or something like that, doesn't it? It's okay.
I found it really difficult listening to positive statements.
Yeah, and that's true, and that's okay. Yeah, absolutely okay. So, as always, we're just looking for something that feels slightly better than that. Just a tiny, tiny bit is okay. And also true, of course.
It feels good to be true, to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I could feel a worse statement coming out. And this is a reaction to anything positive.
Yeah.
There's a negative. I'm going to say I find being positive obnoxious. I mean, but
It's okay to say something like, I'm really starting to notice, or it's good that I'm becoming aware of this knee-jerk response, or something like that.
Yeah.
And we all have that. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Our mind will always say, look, just starting to feel better is not going to fix anything. You know, this Helen woman's a bit crazy. She thinks that's going to help. You know, we've all got that going on inside. So just saying what is, I'm noticing a lot of resistance to this. That might feel weirdly better, just admitting it, you know, and also true.
Yeah, it did feel better to actually say it. I actually feel like a rod across my back as well. But,
it's always a part of us inside, isn't there, that doesn't want to feel better. And to deny the existence of that is counterproductive, isn't it? There's part of us that does want to feel better, of course. And we don't have to push anything away. It's okay. So we're off and running. Let's see if we can do another statement.
I am getting bored with being so negative. It's I wonder if I felt lighter. There's a slight wonder.
Does that feel
how that would feel?
Slightly better? Yeah. And true?
It is only a wonder. Yes, it feels true.
That's okay. And, you know, you could say a statement like, I don't have to fix this. I'm not trying to fix this. Or it's okay to feel how I feel. Anything like that is totally okay.
It's okay, I guess, to feel that, but I do wonder how it would feel in the body to not have that secondary caution.
Let's turn that around. Can you make a statement about turning that around, like, I wonder how it would feel to feel relaxed or feel lighter. I'd like to feel lighter. You know, just putting it in a sort of a positive phrase might be a little easier. Yeah. And it also might feel just a little better. It'd be nice to feel more relaxed, or it'd be nice to feel lighter, or, you know, some statement like that.
It would be nice to feel freer in the moment.
Yeah. Lovely. So can you go for another one? Doing amazing.
Oh, that center tingle.
Yeah.
Down the back of my neck.
So that could be your next statement. I'm loving the tingle, you know.
It feels lively.
Yeah.
And then tingle. Yes.
You're on a roll now, getting a little momentum.
I feel like I can, yeah. be a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's quite nice having the shoulders relax.
Yeah. It's okay to enjoy that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have to tell you, you're actually very good at this. You might not like it, but you're actually quite good at this. Have you noticed? I just
I like
for the first statement, and you've gone on your own then. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to go further, or do you feel you've hit the ceiling for now, or how do you feel?
I think I've hit this. I think I can listen to some more now.
Yeah.
So I can sit back and let other people do it for me.
Wonderful. You did so well, and just putting your hand up, I know is perhaps the hardest thing in the world at that point, but you did. So well done to you, and hopefully you can sense you feeling differently now inside. That resistance to the statement process might never go. There's still times for me where I go, I don't really want to do that, but I do it anyway, kind of just push through it, and it doesn't have to stop us, does it?
No,
So,
I'm really enjoying this sort of tingling, nice tingling. It's going down my shoulder band now. So yeah. I think I have to listen to my body more as well.
The better we feel, the more relaxed the body gets, the more the energy can move, and you can literally notice that. That's really all we're doing, just allowing things to move and resolve. Lovely. Well done, well done.
Thank you. I'll see you next time.
You're becoming an expert now. Thank you. Would anyone else like to have a go? Feel free to raise your hand if you want to try the statement process. It's very, very simple, as you've seen. I've had some very brave sharing so far.
I think Elizabeth has her hand up.
Sorry, I couldn't see that. Yeah, Elizabeth. Where are you? Can't find you there. Okay. Yeah, you're still muted there, Elizabeth. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, wonderful.
Okay. All right. I have so much resistance to doing this, but I feel I'm curious to see how it will be.
So maybe that could be your first statement. Or what's true for you right now? Just exactly how it is for you.
Well, if I'm not just talking about the situation right now, raising my hand and feeling nervous, and it's a feeling of being stuck and feeling hopeless about my situation in life, and losing hope. I feel I lose hope. I'm wanting to get back to a situation where I feel in control again.
Yeah. So that's a very honest, first statement, and probably feels extremely true. So we're just looking for one statement that feels also true, but just slightly better than that. And it doesn't have to be anything about this in particular. You could say something like, you mentioned the word control. So of course I want to feel more in control, that's, or I'll feel safer when I feel more in control.
Yeah. I know that things change, things are ever changing, and that what I feel right now or today is maybe going to be different tomorrow or next week.
Just check in your body how that feels when you say that. Does it feel just slightly better, or?
Yes, it feels slightly better, but I don't know whether it's true. And that's
Okay.
where the hopelessness comes in, I think.
So that's brilliant that you're checking it out and you can feel, it doesn't really feel true that, so we're just
want
put
it to
that to
feel
the
true.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
would
it's
like it to
okay.
feel true.
Yeah.
I
So
would
can you
like-
go for something that feels a little better, but or not, and just checking out, does that feel true for me? Because it's an important part of it then.
Yeah, I would like to feel that I can regain hope and feel
Yeah.
and get myself into a state of feeling more hopeful again and more whole and connected to life.
Yeah. So that just checking that feels true. Yeah.
Yeah, that feels true. And that
And
feels
slightly better.
slightly better. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's amazing. Well done.
Mm.
So first couple of statements might take a little longer time, as you've seen with everyone else as well. Let's see if we can go for another one. And again, not trying to climb any mountains. We're just, it's okay that I feel this. I don't have to like feeling this way, or even a statement that says, I'm never going to like feeling this way. Just whatever comes to you that feels slightly better and true.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I do know it's difficult, and I know that life is difficult and the suffering that everyone has. And I feel that I can feel that this is a part of life, and that feels okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just checking that feels true as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, good.
Mm.
Wonderful. Doing really, really well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. And it feels good to be here, even though it's terrible speaking about my innermost fears and problems. It feels, I'm happy that I'm doing it. I'm happy to be connected with you.
And it's totally, that's a great statement. It's totally okay to say, proud of myself for being able to speak out, or push through some resistance to even do this. Statements like that are very helpful because they're just acknowledging, it's not easy, is it, to speak in a place like this. You are loved and supported, as I've said. Everyone's encouraging you and wishing you well.
Mm.
So.
Yeah, I feel encouraged and supported, and that feels good.
And feels true also.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. You're doing ever so well here.
Mm.
Can you feel just slightly easier, statement by statement, is just slightly easier to find the next one? And that's okay, isn't it? Totally okay.
Yeah, I know it's a process, and I know I'm in the process of connecting to life and to wholeness. So even though I feel hopeless sometimes, I do know deep down that it's going forward. I feel confident about that. That's a long statement.
That's okay. It's absolutely okay. Again, just checking it feels better and true.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm just going to keep bringing it back to that because sometimes it's sneaky mind just kind of, well, you've seen it already, right? One that doesn't feel true but feels better. So, so keep going if you can. You're doing so well.
Yeah, no, quite weird. I do feel more hopeful now. Having just stated, I think, that my feelings, and knowing that they change, and feeling more hopeful.
Wonderful.
that I'm in a process.
And saying that 5 minutes ago would have felt very untrue. Now here it begins to feel true, doesn't it? Because you can
Definitely,
begin to
yeah,
access
definitely.
thoughts and feelings that feel different now. Yeah.
Yeah.
See if you can
Absolutely.
climb a little higher. Let's keep going, seeing as I've got a little momentum going here.
Yeah.
Taking your time, there's no rush at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that if I'm present and I'm with myself and I'm true to myself, I can find a way forward.
Yeah. Wonderful. Very good.
And I know that I have found a way forward from where I was.
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So it feels good to carry on and doing the same. And being able to put it into words as well for myself feels good.
Yeah. Some people like to say them like this. I like to say them and write them. There's some, I love the feeling of writing them, you know. And then when I have felt low in the past, I've got a journal. I've got actually journals, loads of big stack of journals of statements over, you know, where every time I can see I started from this low place and little by little I got back to, it just encourages me that I could do that again and again. I've done it once, I can do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It always feels impossible and really hard, doesn't it, from that low place? Always.
Definitely. And when you're in that lower place, it's so difficult to see further than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just doing this exercise now. I can see that one isn't stuck there forever. Maybe a few minutes or maybe a day or so, but yeah.
And as you practice this more, you know, just applying it again and again, you know, if you know someone that's on the path to, ask them to help you practice together, so that when you feel that way, you feel much more confident that there's something you can do to just feel a little better.
Yeah.
And then when you're in that higher energy place, you tend to have insights and ideas as how to move forward with challenges in your life that you just wouldn't have access to when you're kind of down there. You know, it's just whatever I can do to lift how I feel in that moment, you know. And it can be a statement, can be anything. I'm looking forward to watching this later on the telly. It always makes me laugh, you know. We're not fixing anything, are we? Haven't done anything, we haven't changed anything here. Just working to feel a little better each time.
Yeah.
You want to go for a few more? Absolutely okay if not.
No, it feels it feels good, and I feel I'm in a little bit closer to feeling a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I do feel it feels better. It feels more hopeful.
Yeah.
And I know that I have control. There is a possibility of regaining it, even when it feels difficult. Yeah.
This is what the statement process really gave me, was a feeling of being back in control in those moments.
Yeah.
Because before it was just like, I have to feel this way until it fizzles out and I accidentally arrive back at peace. I felt disempowered, and that always feels terrible, doesn't it? So I felt like there's something I could do in those moments.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and it's very empowering to know that, and I do know that intellectually always, but on a physical level, emotional level, it's difficult sometimes to really feel that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe
you've done
that's
amazing.
what it does, connecting to your emotions more, and feeling more in control, I think.
And working with the body, you know, the body's giving us real-time feedback on what we're believing right at every moment, isn't it? And all that's happening when we feel that way is we've just chosen out of habit some idea that feels terrible. There's nothing I can do about this, or something like that. And then as we begin to change how we feel, we begin to get different thoughts. You know, thoughts have a vibrational level, so just doing that is enough in this. Wonderful. Wow.
Thank you.
Well done for pushing through there.
Thanks. Thank you.
Good to talk to you.
The same. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to have a go? We've got time for one or two more. Feel free to just speak up if you want to. Zoe, yep.
Okay, I don't need to go, but I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to all these beautiful beings who have stepped up. You've just rocked my world into outer space. It's just incredible. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Zoe. And, everybody's been so brave at sharing. And I just hope that everyone is seeing in this that nobody really wants to do it when they start. Nobody really wants to, because we have this allegiance to how we feel in that moment. We have this kind of loyalty to that. And because we feel justified in how we're thinking and feeling in that moment, it can be initially challenging to start the statement process. But once we just, that's why I'm encouraging everyone to get a buddy to do it with someone in the Sangha or anyone that can support you with this. And they don't even have to be on the pathway really, because all we're doing is trying to feel better. So lovely. Angie, when you're ready. Hi, Angie.
Hi. I want to do a statement about something that I can't even name, that seems to have followed me through my life. And I first felt as a child. And it seems to lurk there in the background, waiting to sort of just reappear and pull me down and in. It's a darkness. And it's intimidating, and it feels like it's about unworthiness and hopelessness.
Yeah.
And I'm left out forever and I'm not going to make it. And
okay,
impending doom, perhaps, or something like that.
Yeah. I'm smiling because I remember that feeling. Something is going to go wrong any minute. Any minute, something's going to.
Yes, that's right. I can't trust feeling. Sorry, I've got this over the camera. I can't trust. I can't trust feeling good about myself for any length of time, because the next thing's going to drop.
It won't last, yeah.
The next physical thing, or something I can't handle, or feeling of hopelessness.
So that's where you're starting from, and that's true, isn't it? That feels true. And yeah.
Yes.
So can you make a statement then that feels just slightly better than that? Feels also true. Take your time.
Well, it certainly feels less lonely to be talking to you about it.
Good. And that feels true and slightly better. Just double check it. Yeah.
Yes. It's bringing something that's shameful out into the light, and that.
Yeah. So how about and again, if this doesn't feel better or true, just throw it out. I'm just sort of suggesting things, but everybody feels this way at some point. Or maybe another statement like I've just because I've had this for so long doesn't mean it can't go. Or statement that helped me when I was really in that place was I don't have to fix this. I just need to feel a little better. Whatever statement you want to make that feels just slightly better and true.
Well, I don't have to fix it. Now that does bring some fresh air.
Yeah.
Into feeling like I'm only this feeling, and that actually can be just left as part of the Angie story, and there's the rest of me.
Yeah. And just checking that feels true as well. Yeah.
Yes, in that moment, yes, as you said that, and then I reflected on it just very, very quickly, it felt true. Yes.
Good, lovely. So let's see if we can keep going from there. See if we can go for one more.
well, going back to not having to fix it feels definitely something to explore.
Yeah.
Because often the suffering around it seems to be, I'm doomed.
Do
in this
anything about it. I can't seem to get rid of it.
This was what I came into this world with. I started as a young child. I'm age 66 nearly. But actually,
maybe that's not my job.
It's not my job. And does it impede the peace and the contentment and the love that I feel?
Just checking that feels true. Just double checking. It might feel better, but does it feel true?
I got a little heady just then. I got into a bit of a spiritual sort of plaster, I think, sort of.
That might be technically true, absolutely true, but just does that actually help in this moment? Do you feel better with that statement?
No, I lost connection actually with myself by saying that.
So just recognizing that might happen every now and again. It's okay. You can just put that statement to the side and.
Yeah, it's like there's a recognition that I often stick a smile on and keep the shameful things in the dark.
That's one of the things that the statement process will give you. Will give you a clearer understanding of where we're going up like this with the statements, or like this, and every now and again we'll just go sideways, and or we'll make too big a leap and it doesn't feel true. That's how we know we made too big a leap. It doesn't feel true. It might feel momentarily better in that moment, but it doesn't ring true. Therefore, it's too big of a jump. So can you find something in between that and somewhere halfway or something, or a third of the way? Let's go with this vibe that you don't have to fix it, because you seem to really like that, seem to feel quite good. Can you say something else about that?
Well, I don't have to fix it is another way of loving Angie with all the shades of Angie. And it's just, I'm just part of the human race. No, that was in my head. It's a love thing. It's bringing things out of the dark again that have been shameful, and just having compassion, just feeling love. And
this is love. This is self-acceptance, isn't it? Right here, right now.
Yeah.
Look how good you are at checking. You said immediately, that's my head, that's not true. You noticed immediately.
Yes, I felt myself sort of leave myself as I said that.
And again, that might be true, but we just, it's gonna kick the ladder out from underneath us that we're building. So we're just trying to stay on the ladder and take the next step up.
I mean, one thing the Angie life is going to be changing hugely in the next year, and I'm so looking forward to that. I'm going to be moving house with my sister. Huge thing. And I might be going into my head, but I'm going to try it out. It feels like at last the reflection
is changing,
is coming out into the daylight and the fresh air.
Just checking that feels true.
It feels
obviously feels good because
it's like a future truth. The point is I'm looking forward and I'm feeling hopeful.
Yeah, it's good. So lovely. So let's see if you can do one or two more. You're on a you're smiling away now. So
well, I'm loving the sunshine in my room right now.
Wonderful.
It's absolutely beautiful. It's shining through.
Could you send it up here, please? It's winter in here. You
can see it reflected on my glasses. That's the best I can do.
Okay, I'll take that. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to my my caramel pudding later on today.
Oh yeah, now you're on a roll. Yeah, feels very true. Yeah. Can you do one or two more? You're doing amazing, absolutely amazing.
I'm so pleased that I put my hand up. I wasn't going to because I didn't feel clear.
Yeah.
But I was hugely encouraged by the people that came before me.
Powerfully brave sharing, yourself included, everyone.
We are so in the same boat. We're really
Everyone.
so facing the same.
We all try to pretend we never feel this way, don't we, on the pathway? And we all think we're the only one feeling this way, and it's just so utterly not true. This is where the statement process came from, because you get down in those dark places, you know, it feels like you're never going to get out. And I remember that feeling, and this is where it came from. So, you know, there's not a single person on the pathway that escapes those kind of feelings. At some point, you know, we all feel them. So what we can do to bring it not into light spiritually, so to speak, but stop hiding from it, well, into light too spiritually, but to just admit, I feel terrible right now, instead of I should be feeling peaceful. You know, it's just, you'll feel better immediately. You just admit what is, you know, start to feel better at least.
And I can really see that the statement process isn't a big deal. Actually, we can just sit down for 2 minutes. I can sit down for 2 minutes. And just being willing to just sit and be quiet and look.
Yeah. And your body is so good at helping you with this. It will tell you this doesn't feel true, this statement, or it doesn't feel better, or it does feel better. And, you know, the first you have to do these little baby steps, but then as you get more sort of proficient with it, more practiced, you'll be able to go from fear back to joy in like 5 statements, or sometimes only 3.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it'll be 8. It doesn't matter, does it? You know, walk into the supermarket feeling really grumpy and tired. By the time I've gone around the first couple of aisles, you know, all the prices on the products I want to buy are on sale. Like, you know, just because I've tried to feel better on those first couple of aisles, couldn't do it in the supermarket at first. I mean, obviously I'm not saying statements out loud and doing them in my head, but
Yeah,
I get some crazy looks from people. You know, it's okay that I feel this way. Okay, you know, step away from that lady. Yeah. Do you want to do it for one more before we finish?
yes.
Seeing as though you're on such a good feeling place now.
I cannot express how grateful I am that you and this group and everything is part of this experience right now. I can't tell you. I was alone for so long, and this is just magnificent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lovely. And aren't we lucky to have this family together? You know, that's the one thing I wanted when I was waking up that I didn't seem to be able to let happen. So it fills my heart with joy that we can have a session like this and this open, honest sharing. It's lovely, powerful. Wonderful, wonderful. Well done, Angie.
Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you.
Lovely. Okay, so we'll take Bash, last but not least, and then we'll leave it for this session.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. I've not been doing too well recently. There's been massive amounts of fear come up. Mainly because I felt that there's parts of my ego that's falling away, and it made me quite frightened. And then on top of that, my sister's become seriously ill, and that just put more layers of fear on. So I had a lot of fear, and I was feeling quite confused, disorientated, and motivation just seemed to be evaporating.
Yeah.
And it's happened before, but not quite as much as this. It's happened before, but it seems to be deeper.
So let's start from, how are you feeling right now? Let's start from that with your first statement. Let's
Well, I don't feel too bad now, because I went through a process where I tried to sit with the fear, and but it was overwhelming. I was very, very worried about my sister, so and I just got through it. Really, I just got through it. I just lived through it, really. but it's some other strange things that happen. I don't know if this is going to make any sense. But I've always had a kind of theme through my life, and I've always done this. This is the sort of thing I do, and that seems to be. I was doing a course because that's the kind of person I am, and that's the kind of person that's what someone like me does.
Mhm.
But as bits of my large parts of my identity seem to be not
Disappearing.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, dissolving or whatever the word is.
Yeah.
And but with that as well, a lot of the motivation. I have realised over the last few weeks that behind everything that I was doing, there was a lot of fear and anxiety anyway.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem to be there now. But it's left me with another problem of I don't know what to do. I don't know what direction to go in. I don't know how to make decisions, stuff like that. But the fear that I've had for about 3 months, it has been compounded by the situation with my sister, that's true, but there's a lot of fear, and the way I tried to deal with it, I just tried to sit with it. not very successfully. I didn't do it very well, but
So do you want to apply a statement process where you are today with this, or what do you want to do?
I don't know really. I just thought I wanted to say what I'd been through.
Yeah.
Because while I was going through this, my mind was just saying this is a terrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to end up in a good place. Where are you going to end up? What's going to drive you now, and all this sort of thing. And I felt truly lost.
Most of us do for a period, though, don't we? Because, as you said, pretty much all of our actions have been driven by this urge to feel worthy, to feel safe, to feel in control, all of that. And when that begins to fall away, there can be this, for me, there was this period of motivation, probably not the right word, but it's kind of this big why am I doing any of this? What's the point behind this? What's the reason behind this? It was just kind of, as you said, feeling a little lost.
Well, it's it feels the way I described it was the programming seems to be dissolving that tells you how to live your life, what to do, a direction.
Yeah.
And I don't really, I can't really find that anymore. And that brought up a lot of fear.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if bits of my ego is dissolving, there's still enough there
to be scared of. There's a bit left that's scared. Yeah. And that is normal, isn't it? But it does begin to pass that, because it might come, more intensely, but just because we're losing the ideas of what we thought we were doesn't mean we're going to experience any lack of functionality. And ultimately, it's always been the self that's been driving the show. We just thought it was the egoic sense of self. We thought it was me doing all this.
Yeah. I tried to tell myself that, but it didn't really alleviate the fear.
Is there anything that you need to do right now that you're not able to do through lack of motivation? Is it affecting you severely like that, or is it just kind of, I feel like I'm drifting, I feel a bit lost? Or
I just don't know what to do with my life, or even to come to a decision really to do something.
Does that have to happen right now? Do you have to know?
No.
So life has life organized it so you've got a little time to.
I do have time to do nothing, and I have gone through a period where I've done nothing.
Yeah.
I just tried to I figured this would settle down.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping it would settle down, but I'm not the same. I'm not the same person.
Yeah.
I can't find myself. I can't find I went through a period where I was desperately trying to grab hold of something familiar, but there's no ground under your feet, and the fear that comes up with that, it really knocked me for six. It really did.
So what is the fear saying about this? Why is it a bad thing to not have anything to hold on to? Because it's worth looking at this, isn't it? It comes up for a lot of us. When I had a self-definition, I had something to hold on to, and then now I don't. It's just not there. As you said, you can't find it, and something inside is very sure that that's a bad thing. Fear.
Yeah.
So what is the idea behind that then, that you can spend some time looking at? Why is that such a bad thing according to our mind? To be directionless, to be indefinable, to have no ground to stand on. What is the idea behind that, do you think? Why is that a bad idea according to mind?
But it feels like you're losing yourself, and I have fears, strange fears. Might sound strange. I've got fears I'm going to end up a vegetable, or just sit on the sofa and never do anything. Because the motivation, it really has just like it's evaporated. And I mean, I've had other insights like this. It's really the fear that's been driving me my whole life, and underneath that, but I do experience now. Well, there's no fear there. Sometimes, there's no fear there. There's bits of myself I can't find, which is okay, but I'm generally okay right now. But what do you want to do when I can't come up with an idea?
Well, maybe you're asking something impossible of yourself. If you are not a person, is there anything you can do? Do you have to know? Or can you switch to a mode of watching? Because, you might feel this way, but the body still gets up and gets dressed and makes sure it feeds itself and cleans itself and all of that stuff, right? It keeps on doing that, even without the motivation from the separate self.
But there's still enough ego there to generate a lot of fear about it. Or it really, the root of it is, I think, where you're going to end up.
Yeah. And why is ego so sure you're going to end up a vegetable?
Well, these are some of the fears that come up. But, like you've been doing your statement process, I've tried in my own way to talk back to that and say, because I think how I've tried to deal with it is through, this has got to be something to do with the process, the path, the higher power, and what I'm being asked to do is surrender. So I've tried to do that as best I could, and sometimes not very well. But the whole fear has been compounded by my sister getting really ill, and that really just undermined me. And it took. You see, I consider myself quite a strong person, but that I'm just saying that my ego was quite strong, but that seems to be dissolving.
Yeah.
Whilst I've read about it, and I've experienced bits of it in the last 10 years, but not like this. Not like this. This
Progressively
is
deeper, isn't it? And
this is deeper, yeah. And I have no clue what the hell is going on. I've got some idea, but I think there's part of my ego that's generating all this fear, that's saying that she's not going to end up in a good place. I'm not in control. I don't feel in control. There's no ground under your feet.
Were you ever in control? These are the ideas you need to look at, because if my identity as a separate being is disappearing, which it is for all of us, either quickly or slowly, then it can feel very much like I'm losing that part of myself that made my whole life function. And without that, I'm going to be in real trouble, and I had that fear myself in a very big way. As a mother of four, I needed, so I thought I needed to have some sense of identity to be able to function, have some ground to stand on. This is what, and as I began to look at that, as it fell away, there was something that had to really investigate that and say, well, is it really the case that that egoic sense of self, my ego, is what's been running the show?
Right,
If that's never been true, there is no possibility of me losing anything in this process, in this unfolding.
Yeah.
And as I began to question that, I actually turned around. I actually began to be able to do all of this better, whatever I was asked of in that moment. And it was the passion of the self that was always been moving me, my body.
Yeah.
Same for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been looking at some other stuff, and
Yeah.
they seem to recognize this process, and I understand everything you're saying. I accept everything you're saying,
Yeah.
but it's sometimes it's just the other times when your ego does get hold of you, and the fear gets a hold of you, and you feel like you're just losing yourself.
Do you
completely.
have any friends in the spiritual community that you could turn to in those moments that understand this process that you're going through?
But that's the thing, you see. The person I confided to the most and the most deeply with was my sister. Now
And hence
she's
the fear, of course, then, right? So if your sister is unavailable for any reason with her health, then your support system is, so I'd really encourage you to reach out and make friends in the Sangha, or anyone at all that is interested in awakening, that can understand this process. And the more you do that, in fact, that'll be the number one advice for anyone, is to reach out and make connections. And we've all got friends in our life, that's great, but specifically people who know what this process is, and you can talk to them like you're talking to me now, because you can't just do that with some random person in the
no,
supermarket.
it wouldn't make sense to them, really. I don't think. And
I'd really encourage you. It would help you in those moments when the fear is strong.
Well, that's the thing. It does make you feel very, very alone, because the experience of it is like being stripped down.
Yeah.
Really stripped
But
down.
when you see there are plenty of people that have been through that process and come out fuller and richer the other side, and when you see there's people going through that process right now also, because that aloneness is what keeps you suffering, isn't it? That sense of aloneness.
I mean, not through choice. It's just how it's worked out, really. Like
Sometimes
I said,
we have to push against that. We have to really kind of maybe do something we wouldn't normally do, which is to reach out to someone. And
but how would I do that? I mean, how would I?
There's the Facebook Sangha group. I'm not sure if you're part of that. Satsang with Helen Hamilton Facebook group. There's also an email address, Sangha events. It's on the website as well, helenhamilton.org, that can connect you with people in your area if you email in and say, I'd like to find people in my area.
Right.
You also put a comment on YouTube under this video when it goes live, and people
The thing is, though, it makes you feel so vulnerable and so alone. It's very difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to talk about it.
But just to that, and that's why I'm encouraging you to reach out with somebody that will understand that will understand. They're not going to expect you to be the life and soul of the party in those moments, but they can just be, maybe all they do is just sit with you or sit on the phone with you or something. But it's vital. It's just as important to have a good spiritual community as it is to have a good spiritual teacher, perhaps more so at some times.
I understand what you're saying, and I've said the same things to myself over the last 3 months sometimes, but then the fear gets the better of you. And you see, I think basically what you're saying is that this is a normal process. This is part of the process that everybody goes through on the path.
But this point that you're at right now, that is what I'm saying, but also this point that you're at right now doesn't need to last any longer than it has. And it's in your hands how quickly you move through this. You are in control of this if you reach out to someone.
Right.
Sometimes it's about doing the last thing we want to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like you said, I take on board what you're saying. It's a normal process, and some of the time I can see that, but the rest of the time, I think, something's gone wrong, really.
And that's why you need the reflection of someone to tell you this is part of it in that moment. And again, a friend like that is not going to be trying to fix anything. They're just going to give you support and help you through it.
Well,
If I said to you today that the amount of time it takes to get through this is directly proportional to the amount of people you reach out to today or this week, that's absolutely true, because the only thing keeping it in a holding pattern is not trying to burst through that kind of barrier. There's an energetic barrier. I get that totally, because I remember that feeling of desperately wanting help with this, but not feeling able to kind of reach out. And
yeah.
if you could do one thing today that would change your life, what is it? And maybe this is it.
But from what you're saying, it's reaching out to the people.
Yeah.
Even
saying this now is a step forward, isn't it? Reaching out like this.
It is. It felt really difficult, scary to do that. But I thought it's such an intense experience that I thought they've got nothing to lose. I thought I'd give it a go. It does make me feel better, because you reassured me that this is a normal process.
It is, but it doesn't need to go on so long, this part of it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the time when we need more support than ever. So
Well, I can see that surrender is the key, but there's massive amounts of resistance.
Yeah. And does that resistance have to go before you take action, or is it the kind of time now where you can push through the resistance anyway? Yeah.
Well, I don't know how I've done it, and I don't know how it happened, but I've tried from the beginning to surrender, and the resistance was there, and I think somehow I did a little bit surrender, and that made it easier. But there is a lot of resistance. There's a lot of resistance there.
Also, another great resource is the worldwide sanghas that we do. They're free over Zoom. The times are listed on the website. They're open to anyone. You don't have to speak or even put your camera on. You can just join and feel supported. And it's
I've been doing, I've been there. I've not said anything. So
that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just reassuring for you to say to me that this is a normal part of the process, because my mind is saying, no, it isn't.
Something's going wrong here. Yeah. All we've ever known is life as a separate being, and it's very different when that is disappearing, so it's normal. Doesn't mean it's easy. And that's where we have satsang, where we have a sangha, because we need to be around people also that are going through the same situation.
No, I'm massively reassured just hearing someone else say
that's
that.
Really good.
That someone else just say that this is a normal part of the process, and because your mind goes along the lines of something's gone wrong and it's bad, you're going to end up in a bad place. So knowing that it's a normal part of the process is,
if you were to
is reassuring.
If you were to, my granddad used to love stripping down his engine on his car just for the sake of it and then putting it back together again. He just loved to do that. And when I used to watch him, and he'd take anything apart, there's this part right at the end of that before you start to put it back together where it doesn't really function for, however long that time is, can be shortened. So a lot of the stripping down has been done, and now we need to allow the rebuilding of the self as you is going to start to come to the forefront more and more. And that self has the strength to push through any resistance in you.
Well, that's the great doubt that my mind has, is that I've looked around at other stuff, and they are saying similar things. They're saying that your ego is getting stripped down, so the motivation from your ego is dissolving. But there's going to be, I call it being. It doesn't matter.
Whatever name we call it.
And then the motivation is going to come from the being, in the form of intuition, and I'm sort of waiting for that. I don't really know.
Isn't that what prompted you to put your hand up today, that intuition?
It is, but what I was going to say is, I think, because they say that that's coming through all the time, just all that ego noise is stopping you hearing it. But I think what's stopping me from hearing it was a lot of the fear.
Yeah.
The fear stops you. And I've never felt this lost, like limbo.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt it to a lesser degree over the last 10 years, but not like this. This feels something pretty major. And yeah. But it has been reassuring.
Good.
Hearing someone
Take those
else.
steps. Do what you can today to connect with
will.
someone. Yeah.
I will, yeah.
That's the one thing you can do. You've done it's amazing by sharing like this. And the next amazing thing you can do is to break through resistance, you know.
I understand what I'm saying makes sense to somebody, because I wasn't, I'm not really
We all feel like you do at some point. We all do. So,
Yeah.
And if we've seen anything on this satsang today, everyone feels in that low place at some point, everyone. Until we don't, until we've moved beyond that finally. But while it's there, the best thing we can do is reach out. And we've had some very brave examples of that today.
Yeah, because it's just like being totally dismantled, isn't it? It's totally dismantled, and you wonder. I mean, reading about the process is one thing, but going through it is something else.
And you get to the point and you're awake and you go, why on earth did I ever start this? I just want to go back to sleep. Yeah, comfortably back to sleep, but it's too late by that point.
It does feel like that. It feels like this process is going to run its course, whatever I do.
Yeah.
I can slow it down through resistance. I can't. This thing is going to run its course.
And
No
that used to
matter what I
terrify
do.
me. And then eventually it gave me the greatest sense of joy. No matter what I do, I can't screw this up. It's going to have its way. It's going to do its thing.
Yeah.
I'll come out the other side of this.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to leave it there because of time. Sorry, but do what you can today to reach out there. Yeah.
I will do. Yeah.
Thank you. Good to talk to you, Ash.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, so we'll leave it there for today. Just a quick encouragement to find a buddy, as we we're just talking about. There's all those ways that we can reach out. You can email in. You can add a comment on this when it goes on YouTube. You can, if you're on Facebook, there's a Sangha group. Do whatever you can to connect with someone, and they can help you learn the statement process. It's just practice, really, and getting comfortable with it. And if you're doing it together with someone, you'll find it so much easier. And you'll find your life enriched to the amount that you reach out and connect with others in the Sangha, definitely. So thank you very much for your time and your brave sharing. Absolutely amazing. I hope you know how amazing you all are. Thank you. Namaste.